I don't know what is happening there. Okay, it says live now. Oh, I got some air. Shalom, Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal. Started at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, by Commanding General YAHANNA, the one man with the rank and authority under Christ to be the leader of the nation at this time. I want to say Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai Barakatam to my brothers, Yahweh Shamar Latan Basham Yahweh Shai to my sisters. This evening we're going to party president for the People's National Party. Both is serious turning point for our little nation at this time. The China 5G has garnered the attention of, as in that Washington telling us, you can't do that. Basically what they're telling you is that China is their enemy. So you can't join force with their enemies. No, interestingly, if you remember the story of Egypt, that was the fear of the Egyptian, wasn't it? The Egyptian feared that we might join force with one of their enemies. Remember the story? Huh? We were great in number as a people. So the fear said, these people might just join force with one and fight against us. So let us, is there a problem with it? So let us deal wisely with them. And then they start killing out the baby boys. So they're looking at Jamaica is just one of the 12. But America being the tribe is not that was the northern kingdom. Sorry, Ephraim. Ephraim is Puerto Rico is a state of America, and it's a state that does not enjoy the same privilege of as the other 51 states. The southern kingdom's leader, Judah, they have Judah under their feet in America. No leeway. Now Jamaica, Benjamites, and we now are in between a rock and a hard place because online classes, that's where the world is going. And they find that online classes do not, online classes require good internet speed, and internet speed in which 5G can give. But public enemy number one is telling us that no. Anyway, there's an article in today's Observer, front page article, which we are going to read. And then we're going to match these with scriptures of the Jamaican government. And to the installation of fifth generation 5G mobile technology infrastructure, saying that any decision to engage China or a Chinese firm poses several risks to the island, particularly to the financial sector. So money is always the bottom line. America's top diplomat in Jamaica, Ambassador Donald Tapia, made Washington's position known in an exclusive interview with the Sunday Observer last Friday, following an article published by the newspaper last Sunday reporting Spectrum Management Authority, SMA, reporting Spectrum Management Authority, which is for short SMA, saying that Jamaica is far advanced in preparing the regulatory and monitoring regime for the proliferation of 5G services in the island, while advancing his preference that other models of 5G architecture. Tapia, that's the US diplomat to Jamaica, top diplomat or ambassador, Tapia made the point that the island's financial sector would be hit hard if the government engages 5G technology from a Chinese source. Now, interestingly, none of those two plays clear that, his problem with China rests with the totalitarian nature of its government. All right, so basically they are saying China is a totalitarian government, they don't make laws against themselves. In democracy, you find that the government might make laws barring the government itself from doing something. We have one situation out here with what do you call it, Charter of Rights, a set of laws made by Parliament, which Parliament itself bars itself from making changes. So Parliament itself cannot take away that Charter of Rights. Also, when it comes to technology and spy, it's locked. The call is locked from both ends. So no tapping can take place. All right, the totalitarian nature, where is it? Making it clear that his problem with China rests in the totalitarian nature of its government. Tapia said his country has national security concern with 5G technology developed by Chinese companies such as Huawei and ZTE, declaring that these companies have been found wanting on data security issues, right? So them use them network to bug and spy within people's business. Ambassador Tapia produced U.S. State Department information outlining myths and facts about 5G security and Huawei. The American company currently offers 5G end-to-end network solution. Right, that's the end-to-end encryption. Same thing you see come across. Security concerns expressed by the United States are truly about ensuring our shared security, the State Department states. Now, most times when I see the white man scared of something, it's because he has done it. So you know what can be done. It adds that alternative suppliers of end-to-end solutions are headquartered in democracies that offer rule of law and judicial protections to prevent government overreach, right? So you have rule of law and you have judicial protection that would prevent the government from reaching over and tapping into your accounts and things without you knowing. But they are saying that such companies that provide these are headquarters in democratic countries. The document lists those suppliers as Ericsson in Sweden, Nokia in Finland, and Samsung in South Korea. South Korea is one of the State Department also argues in the document that allowing Chinese equipment companies into any part of a 5G network creates unacceptable risks to national security, critical infrastructure, privacy, and human rights. Tapia reiterated his government's position that it will reassess how it interconnects and shares vision with countries that compromise their 5G security. As for consequences, it's gonna affect banking. Any financial transaction from this island, Tapia said, adding that the biggest consequence you have that your financial institutions and the finance of Jamaica stops. That's a consequence that you are looking at long term. That's major. That's what they do. Another consequence of utilizing Chinese developed 5G, he said, was access to aid. Access to aid in times of disaster. If you were to have a hurricane, if you were to have a hurricane, earthquake, or any type of natural disaster, we cannot and will not move into a communist Chinese network because it gives them the opportunity to download all the data that we have, he explained. Now, this is how fast 5G works. You can just tap into the 5G with your laptop or whatever. Spyware coming so fast, take out your information and carry it back before you, without even knowing it. You either have to look to the east, to the two-headed dragon. Now, this you have to look to the east, to the two-headed dragon, or gonna have to look to the north. It's a decision your government will have to make. Tapia content. So in other words, the diplomat said, you either want to go fully with China, everything you want to go to China, or you're gonna come fully with us, US. Everything you want to come to us. So in other words, what is our motto out here? Motto? Out of many, one people don't. That's sure that that's a lie. It's the white man that gave us that motto, the English. Yeah. They inform the political landscape that we have after slavery. Or I should say after independence, after we get in independence. Now they tell us out of many one people. But they don't live that way. They don't live out of many one people with themselves. They tell you that so that you can keep your guards down, that they can constantly abuse and sucker punch you. Like how they sucker punch us with all those treaties that we find, NAFTA that we signed, and others. North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement, telling us that we have the ability to ship to the US without free. And we say, yay! But we are going to ship to Jamaica tariff-free. We said, no problem. Now, everything from the US come in and clear and go too fast. When Jamaican things is to go up, oh my gosh. Several things many times stay on the wharf and perish. Any item that is perishable, stay on the wharf until the time has passed. Perish. All right. All right, so he's saying that we either have to go and to look toward the Jordan or to the north. He pointed to the United Kingdom's government decision earlier this year banning mobile providers in that country from buying new Huawei 5G equipment after December this year. The Boris Johnson administration also ordered the companies to remove all Huawei 5G kits from their networks by 2027. London's decision came after Washington imposed sanctions on the Chinese firm, which the Americans say possess a national security threat. Who has consistently expressed discomfort with Jamaica's business relationship with China, said the issue of trust, in other words, is like you have a friend who won't stop going talking to one of your enemies. It hurts you. You don't like that. Hurting that mutual friend that you and him share. But you know the other nation. He tells us that he doesn't like these other nations. And him like we. He love us. But we keep on going and friending these other nations, trying to bring them onto him. He doesn't like that. All right? So if you study them, what America is saying now, you as an Israelite supposed to understand how the Most High feel. Same thing there. He's saying God has been telling us long time ago. All right. Now, London's decision, right, came after Washington imposed sanctions on Huawei on Friday. Ambassador Tapia, who has consistently expressed discomfort with Jamaica's business relation with China, said the issue of trust was extremely important in the establishment of a 5G network. His comments echoed those by the department, which in its document stated that trust cannot exist when vendors are subject to secret manipulation by an authoritarian government like the People's Republic of China that lacks any independent judiciary and rule of law that prevents misuse of data. So they are saying that the Chinese government don't make any law against themselves that is going to bar them from using these companies that they are sending out into your country. A friend of his, he is not going to bar himself from dealing certain way with that enemy, but that enemy will use that. Sit down and sneakingly asking questions about your business. Well, in this case, they don't need to ask that mutual friend, who in our case would have been Jamaica. Then you in China would need to ask us any question about America. They would just use their 5G thing, use us as the vehicle and route to China, to America. So America said, nah, that's not going to work. The 5th generation mobile network is designed to connect virtual everyone and everything together, including machines. In the meantime, give me Joshua 24, 14 and 15. Right? Joshua 24. So 5G connects, sorry, everything together. Everything can interface with machine, interfacing with objects and with devices. Everything interface. So there's a lot of things that is to come on stream for real, like these cars. So in other words, you should be able to stay wherever or far and possibly drive a car. The cars that can be driven without a driver. So they call them self-driving. And you would have a camera there that you are able to see in real time what is happening through that windshield of the car. Machines that are in factories and so on would come online. And then on top of that, all schools are locked down. And every classroom is now what? Online. From university to basic school is now online. So Jamaica is faced with that.
Chapter 24 and 14.
You're going to have to read with your voice. All right, book of, is just right there. 14 and 15.
Now therefore fear the Lord, and serve him in sincerity and in truth. And put
Fear
away
God and serve God in sincerity. See, you must sincerely fear him. And fear him in truth. And
put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood, and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord.
put away them false God. Put away them Caesar Borgia. Put away them Muslim God. Put away all those the Christmas tree and serve only Yahweh. Come in the U.P.K. where you learn of the true way to serve Yahweh. Continue.
And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom ye will serve. Whether the God.
Unto us, most of us, you look at the U.P.K. and you say, well, the man there, I preach, don't they? The man there, I preach wickedness. Because we are not going to tell you that Christ died for everyone. And out of many one people. Well, here you're seeing it for yourself that is foolishness. There's no such thing as them coming together, all nations coming together. You see it at the level there, 5G, that's going to cause a war. And what if it is that what they preach in the church is so, then remember these Western nations are Christian based, you know. So they should not want to push away the Chinese. They shouldn't be pushing away other nations and trying to tell our people that, nah, you can't go and do business with China. Because that business that you want to do with China is going to be our demise. Go and do business with one of our friends. All right, to finish it?
No. Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, are the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But
so in other words, you know, that's what it comes down to, you know. Which God you're going to serve. You're going to serve the same God that the Amorites serving, or are you going to serve the same God that the Chinese are serving? Because these major religions in these two countries is what form the basis of their laws and how they think. China and America have never had any major war. But the Chinese say they don't like, America said they don't like the Chinese because Chinese choose a principle of government that they call communist or totalitarian, which is the same thing as kings and queens. We don't have queens in Israel, but we have royalties. So kings. And they are saying, no. democracy, two-party. And we all know what the two-party system did. We have experienced that. We see what OTR, PNP, and JP, we see what they bring to us. All right, let me go back. Go on.
But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
As for us in the UPK, we know who we are serving. So we're not busy which way they want to use 5G. We don't busy which of the countries 5G want to come through. We know who we are going to serve. Yahweh Shai. Blah, 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 blah. Right. It is designed to deliver higher multi-Gbps, multi-gigabytes, data speed. Damn, you ever look when they don't know there's something and they show you how fast it's going, much megabytes per second. Well, this one goes gigabytes per second. So you download one 2-hour movie in less than 5 minutes. It's just boop. That's like internet diarrhea. Ultra low latency, more reliably, massive network capacity, increased availability, and a more uniform experience to more users. Now, this is just the pretty part still. In its 2019-2020 annual report tabled in Parliament 2 weeks ago, the SMA outlined a number of initiatives and activities being put in place to prepare Jamaica for the rollout of 5G services. Now, this is what is going to propel nations, they say, for the next generation. But I can tell you, anything they're propelling for the future involves the Israelite as slaves. These include the earmarking of high frequency bands as the 24.25, 27.5 giga, 24.25 to 27.5 gigahertz, 37 to 43.5 gigahertz, 47.2 to 48.2 gigahertz, and 66 to 71 gigahertz. These frequency bands were agreed at the last World Radio Communication Conference held October to November last year in Egypt. Dr. Maria Myers Hamilton, SMA Managing Director, has pointed out that these high-frequency bands are currently not being used by any of Jamaica's mobile network providers. So this is high frequency. All right. She highlighted the need for Jamaica to establish national committees to begin looking at the local spectrum needs for 5G and the practical ways in which spectrum may be of benefit to the economy. So in other words, I want to say how this can benefit the economy. All right, see you later story in Sunday Finance. So that's basically the story that was published in the Observer. So the US has spoken. They have spoken through their top diplomat to Jamaica. and to let Jamaica know that if you go to China, will come to us. But if you go to our friends or associate that provides these services, then we will do business with you because we trust these friends of ours. All right, go to Zephaniah 2 and verse 8. Because we as black people out here, we are Israelites. We are neither Chinese, we are neither white people, or Edomites. We are neither. So whether 5G come from one end or the next end, it's like we're going to say which one will be the better master. Because 5G is going to be enslaving everybody. Because you can sit at home, type a document, and they can stay in whoever is providing this 5G. They can stay wherever they are and see what you're doing on a computer. And probably see it in real time too. Of course, persons like us in the UPK might not be interested because they already have the Bible too. But what about your government? Especially issues of national security, the things happens at upper camp and in the hierarchy of the police force and in your political leaders' organization. They are going to know everything. And everyone knows that the success in a good business is really the element of surprise to your competitors. In other words, when you roll out, they don't know that you're rolling out. The element of surprise. So 5G is going to take away all those. But anyway, Christ not coming to surprise anything. Years ago, they know about Christ coming. So they don't need 5G to bring in those chariots. Those chariots won't need to hook up to 5G in order to fly in and pick us up. You have that? Zephaniah, you find it? I'm looking for it. Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 8 to 9. And this tells you about how the Most High sees the Chinese. Go on.
Zephaniah 2 verse 8. I have heard the reproach of Moab and the revilings of the children of Ammon, whereby they have reproached my people and magnified themselves against their borders.
So in other words, the Most High said the Chinese have reproached us, the Most High's people, and they have enlarged themselves against our borders. They big up themselves, promote themselves, exalt themselves above us. That's what it's saying. Go on.
Therefore, verse 9. Therefore, as I live.
So here now the Most High is swearing. When God swear, just like when he said, therefore, as I live, we're going into slavery. And that was from, I think it's from before we even take up the land that he gave us. So he swear. Continue.
Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah.
So Moab is the Chinese and Ammon is the Japanese. So you're talking about the Chinese and the Japanese. So you're going to treat them like Sodom and Gomorrah. Continue.
Even the breeding of nettles and salt pits, and a perpetual desolation.
Desolation.
The residue of my people shall spoil them, and the remnant of my people shall possess them.
So he's going to bring them down so low that 5G can't help them. I think 3G can't work them to how low they're going to be. He's going to make them such that we spoil them, meaning we go and take what's left. That's what it means to spoil. When in a war, the nation get defeated, and they go and spoil them. They go and raid the country. You go into houses, you go into their business place, and you just take. That's what it means. So he's saying that his people, the residue of my people shall spoil them. So he has nothing, the Most I have nothing nice in store for the Chinese and the Japanese for this same thing. So I don't know, maybe we might end up going with China anyway. Everybody see that the Chinese have more money than the Americans to spend. So you know America is so rich. China have more money to spend. So maybe Jamaica might just say, yeah, we're going with the Chinese. But every one of us also know that the Chinese generally when they come to business, you know. The Americans know that too. That's why the ambassador refer to them as the Dublin, the German. They will tell them, yes, man, so and so and so. And they do something different. They come and they say, when they were building the highway from that lead into Ochias, they brought one. They tell them that any building they're putting up, they're supposed to prepare the drawing and take into the local government authorities for approval. They do one building, a 2-bedroom house. You know, and then go and say, yeah, you should put up so and so for sewage. Your construction should be X, Y, Z. And they get the approval for the 2-bedroom house. And then go and build the 4-bedroom house. A couple months after, the government authorities go up there and check out and, you know, inspect, see what is happening. When they went up there, they saw a village. So they paid the money to get one approval. And then they put up several more structures which they didn't get approval for. For years, have the white men out here planting sugarcane. Sugarcane is slavery, yes. But they have never put that wastewater, that stinking wastewater, Donda. What's the proper name for it? I don't even know. But I think it come off rum. Is when they're making rum, you get that water. They have not put it in the river. They cut its own trench and lead it down. And these Chinese come out here and they just divert that stinking water in the river. Kill how many fish? And they don't care. So why should we really go to them for 5G? When they start spying everybody and our government come and say, China spying on us and we're asking them to stop, they're not going to care. And we're going to be in too deep to pull out. We're going to be in too deep. So maybe we should not go with them. I don't know if we want to say stick to the evil that you know or what, but the Chinese are general with cost. But master, who's a master we choose? Which master we want? Because the one that we choose to give us 5G is gonna be our next slave master. You better believe it. Take me now to Obadiah 1, 6 and 6 from we're going from 6 to 10.
Obadiah 6. How are things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?
Right. Or is right. Continue. All the men.
All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at the wound under thee, there is none understanding in him.
All right. Well, I don't know. The Chinese, you see them bread, because the Chinese had all these humanitarian organizations. All these organizations used to go in and feed the Chinese rockets to the moon. So hold on. So if they can afford to send a rocket to the moon, that money that they use to build the space shuttle, use to feed the people. We're pulling out. So I don't know. It says they that have, and China was at peace with them at that time. They that have, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in it.
Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even this time?
All right, so the Most High plan to destroy the wise men and take away their understanding with what I call them, what we name them first. Ericsson is Sweden. So either we go Sweden or Finland or South Korea. Koreans are those they cross the Chinese and the Japanese. There is one set that cross. Two it's two nations, Moab and Ammon, who cross breed together. The Koreans. Two of them cross with the Koreans. The Japanese men who inbred the Chinese women, I think they are the South Koreans. And the Chinese men who inbreeded the Japanese women, they are, I think they are the North Koreans, something like so. Something like that, but it's the men of one of the nation. Who, the men are the more dominant in the nations. The one join, they become North and South, but they are one Korea, really. Now, one side of them took to the communist China, and one side took to the Japanese. That's how the split began. That's not how the nation of Korea began. That's how the split began. Now, they might be suffering the same fate as we see more about Ammon. But them being friendly with China, with America, we do business with any one of them. It don't really matter. Moses is going to destroy Esau. Destroy Esau. Read it again.
Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom?
And that day that is referring to is the last days. We are in the last days now. And
understanding out of the mouth of Esau.
Right, verse 9.
And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mouth of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
So you have slaughtering for all of Esau generation. It says nothing about 5G. With a fifth generation. Our money or anything. It doesn't matter. What they gain, what they have, they're going down. So, I mean, we just have to really calculate our situation and know really, and that is for, and that for, I'm not sure about Andrew still, but an Israelite, right, he is that often, he might have a different spirit. Not we're in the Israelite spirit. So, all these people now. Take me down to Matthew 6 and 24. You know, you did it? Oh, all right, read 9 and 10 together.
And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end, that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
So, no matter how good their fifth generation things, which really and truly is needed now by us because of the online class that everybody have to be there. I mean, look at the school. Look how many school children we had. Look how many schools we have. And everyone closed down. And all those children after the day that we get, whatever time we might get a little control over the virus named COVID-19. Pure dunce people going to have enough. Don't do teacher going to be dunce. Teacher not going to remember anything. Because many of the teachers now can't fit in with the online. Right? So those teachers who can't fit in, they're not going to remember their content. Sure. Anyone who's a teacher know that each year that you're doing a topic, you just have to revise it. You don't really stick with it. That's why you write lesson plan. Many of them have written one in almost a year now. Coming to 6 and 24.
Matthew 6 and 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon.
All right, so this is Christ speaking in that no man can serve two masters, right? But when Christ said this, this is the same thing that the Americans say. Jamaica, you can't serve us and serve China. You either will end up betraying us to the Chinese or betraying the Chinese to us. Well, that is what they would want, but they don't think it's going to go that way. We already have them doing the logistics. No man can serve two masters. This is Christ in his wisdom telling us that. Either you will hate one and love the other, or you will hold to one and despise the other. So they are letting Jamaica know that this 5G thing is not like a boat island thing where you can go, take some money and then tell them, get out. It doesn't work that way. The one you choose, you're going to be locked into that one forever. Until if there is ever such. And mammon, what is mammon? Mammon is like idolatry. Not necessarily money, but anything that you worship that is not God. That's mammon. You can't serve God and mammon. So you can't serve America, you can't, and the Chinese at the same time. That's the reality that they are laying at our feet through their diplomats. But when you look at this lineup, one who running. Lisa what?
Hannah.
Right, and that's not no, we don't even have true Hebrew names now, except those that we get in the UPK. But we have Lisa, Hannah, and what else? Mark, Martha, Golden. These are unmarked women, right?
Yes.
Now, which of those are Israelites? He's Malcolm from a Jewish background, Jewish background. If you remember, you watch news since week, Matalan, you know, you know the Matalans. See, red skinned Jewish people, they know them. The other communication group is the head of one of the media communication group. So he came under fire. The man said, this man says my friend. Well, guess what? If you were and you're my friend and I have media influence, what am I going to do? Promote your ads and don't promote the next opponent. Right? So he offered to resign, but I don't think he resigned. I was trying to find one of the articles that I could read online, you know, but I can't find one. Take me to Deuteronomy 4 and 7.
Deuteronomy 4 and 7. For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for?
What did I say that was?
Deuteronomy 4 verse 7.
Deuteronomy. Okay, 7 to 9.
Oh.
Hold on. What nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh? No, this is how close we have the Most High to us, that we have him in all things that we call upon him for. That is in all, he's all in all our business. 8.
And what nation is there so great, that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day?
Right. So we have the most righteous laws you can ever have. Of God as our friend. So why do we want to vote? We should not be voting. Verse 9.
Only and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons.
Right. So the greatness of the Most High is because we keep running to the other nations. But this is why we are not to vote. You have God on your side already. Who are you going to vote for that better than God? Tell me. Make a wild guess. Even if that person is not in Jamaica. Okay, you know it's not Trump, so. But is he better than God? Certainly not. Putin make a weapon so powerful and call it Satan. Yeah, Russia make it. And then in quick succession, even more powerful than that one, and call it Satan 2. Satan 1 and Satan 2. Why they don't do some good deeds and call it God, call it Yahweh. Do some good deeds for us and call it Yahweh. There must be Israelites in Russia. Show some good deeds to them. But no, these nations, the battling over 5Gs and so on, that's money. And our people going hunger. hungry. All these monies that they are using to build themselves came off the background, the backbone of the Israelites. They made these, and our people are hungry. But they are there battling who get rights to make money from the 5G and who's spying and who. As if that's, we don't care about that. Our care is to try and alleviate the hunger that our people are feeling. All right, tell me the Deuteronomy 26 and 17.
Verse 10.
What? 7 to 9.
Repeat.
Deuteronomy 26, verse 17.
Deuteronomy 26, verse 17. Thou hast avouched the Lord this day to be thy God, and to walk in his ways, and to keep his statutes and his commandments, and his judgments, and to hearken unto his voice.
So our forefather went and made a covenant with God to listen to God, to walk in God's ways, and to keep his statutes and commandments, to keep his laws, and to keep his judgments. And his judgment is the punishment for breaking the laws. Like you're on a road and it says 50 and you're speeding. What's the punishment? Right, they get a ticket, maybe depends how fast you're going. Maybe up to 15,000 or so. But that's a judgment. So the Most High said, thou shalt not this, thou shalt not that, thou shalt not kill. What's the judgment? If you murder somebody, you should be murdered in return. But how Esau's law is, you murder someone, it depends who you murder. It depends who you murder. If you murder, look at out here. You murder one, murder two. If it's a police murder or government official, that's murder one. You murder ordinary citizen, and that's not murder one, that's murder two. Right? But in the Most High's laws, murder is murder. Regardless of who you murder. You murder a king or you murder the little poor man on the street. The punishment is the same because it's a life. Right? So that's why in the first part already it said, which other nation have any law so just? None. And until this day, none. Because they're prejudiced in the laws. Depending who commit the law or who it is committed against, determine if the case is solved or not. All right, Deuteronomy, where are we? That was at 17, 18 now.
And the Lord hath avouched thee this day to be his peculiar people, as he hath promised thee, and that thou shouldest.
So the Lord, so the Most High has, we made a covenant with him and take him for God, and he is made a covenant, signed the same covenant with us to take us for his. What peculiar mean? Special or favorite or what else? Different. Yeah. Google it. Where is the phone? None of it. You need to know what peculiar means, because that's what we are to the Most High. Most High has taken us for his peculiar people. And he has, what does avouch mean?
Peculiar, different to what is normal or expected, strange.
Right. So we are different.
Unusual or odd.
unusual. Right. So that is why I keep saying that we are not wired like the other nation. We're not supposed to do the same things they do. We are peculiar. What avouch mean?
Avouch means affirm or assert.
Right. So he has affirmed, meaning yes, say yes, take them people here for myself. So we are supposed to be the people on the earth that is. That's the purpose of him making us peculiar now, to carry out his will. He has chosen us to carry out his will. For this, the other nation not going to like you, but it's a journey, it's a path. It's just like you're born a woman and there's so many men who don't like women, but what you can do about that? Go and change your sex from being a woman to suit them? No, you just have to be a woman. So many nations don't like us, but we can't do anything about that. We have to continue being peculiar, continue keeping his laws, his statutes, his judgment. Well, we can't keep on judgment now because we're not governing ourselves.
Thou mayest be an holy people unto the Lord thy God,
And
as he hath spoken.
holy means what? Separate. So if we are peculiar to him and to his law, and we are the keepers of his laws, and he has made us an holy people, why are we voting? Now, this is how dumb we are. We are trying to find something better than what he has given us. And he has already, maybe we get it too easy. What if you already have the best, what another person can come give you that is better than the best? The grass always look green over there, man. That is why we should not vote. This is what we are seeking when we vote in it. Better. This is why the politicians go to the inner cities. We call them the squatter communities. Become a feeding tree. The first feeding tree was the trade unions, but it was workers, because the workers want better wages and better working conditions. So the trade union bargains for them. And then the trade unions were linked to political parties. And the political parties need the vote. So that's why our people want to vote. I think that voting is going to change our situation. That was Deuteronomy what, 26? Take me now to same Deuteronomy 17, 14 to 20.
Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall
We want a leader over us. We want a prime minister. That's what we vote for. We want a prime minister over us like the modern nations that are around us. Continue.
Thou shalt set in any wise set him.
Thou
Thou shalt
shalt
in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose.
So in other words, God must choose that prime minister. Continue.
One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee.
And that one who the Most High will choose is one of your brethren. Continue.
Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother.
So you should not set strangers over you. And here the stranger is not talking about the Israelite that is a stranger in your land, but it's talking about the other nations. It's telling you not to set the other nations over you. Continue.
But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that
Anybody return to Egypt, bondage.
the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord has said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way.
Right.
Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall
right. So it's not a seed for riches. That's what it's talking about. But when you vote for the leaders, and that's what they do. They multiply riches to themselves. Continue.
And it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites.
All right. So the general prime minister consult the Bible. Right? This is how hypocritical the system. When they go in, they swear on the Bible. They don't use it. I want to go to the court, they swear on the Bible, and they don't execute the judgments that are in the Bible. Hypocrisy, man. Continue.
And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes, to do them, to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel.
So it's telling you that when that time comes for you to choose a leader over you, you should put the man who the Most High has chosen. Now, why the Most High don't make you choose your leader? What are the things we like in Jamaica? Whether clothes or what? Food, like we like KFC, we like jerk chicken. What else? The American they love Jordans. Black Americans love Jordans. What else? What we live out here, and a Jordan our thing. What is our thing? No, in terms of fashion. And a Jordan and food thing in there is what? Clocks. Yeah, man, we love clocks, don't we? So the prime minister gonna come and say gonna make clocks cheap for everybody. What do you think will happen? No, that's the one you're going to vote for.
The one what? Oh.
The one who's going to give you what you want. Yet, the thing that you riches to himself, and so on. Now, this is what voting does. Voting allows us to choose the ruler that we think is good for us, to the end that we always get shafted. Yeah, they want to come buy your vote. So voting is not of God. Never. From the time of Moses all the way down. The Most High don't allow people to choose the leader because they are going to choose one that, for instance, just like how we have lobby groups. What lobby groups do? The groups come up with a set of demands that suit them in the group, right? Find a candidate who is willing, if they're willing, to lobby for these things that they want. And then they put their money behind that candidate and ensure that that candidate wins. Right? Now, the set of things that this group wants is for this group, not necessarily for the nation, but for the group. The thing that is good for the nation is what God looks at. So He chooses the leader for you, not you choose the leader. Contracts, isn't it? But what about the other sectors, education and so on? I don't care. As long as we can choose things, right? The one governing, so I don't know. Maybe he might do so. But what we should be doing is walk away from this voting because the Most High choose for us. Long time and choose not the leader, man. Christ. Yeah. Who was in Jews after Christ? Every other human under Christ. We have command in general and now under in the UPK. It's command in general and under Christ. Christ is the king. Your mother, the other day, I was saying to Tama, Lucia was a beauty pageant, beauty contestant. This world. So if Lisa wins, Lisa gonna say, my first act as prime minister, woman must be beautiful. Isn't that what all women would want? And then she starts subsidizing some beauty product and thing, so that the ladies can be beautiful. True or false? Eh? No, I'm just saying figuratively, because when you follow the trend of our prime ministers, they bring to the fore the things that they know. Michael Manley was a trade unionist, you know. That was why when he became prime minister, what he did, he fight for the things that trade unionists would fight for: better wages, labor laws, and so on. He was a trade unionist. Edward Seaga was a capitalist, a businessman. So he fight against the trade union. He fight for lawyer. Lawyers flourish under PG. Well, I don't know how to say about portion. Andrew, we'll see in coming, in young. We'll see what is his liking. So they put their liking. None of them has put the Most High before their liking.
Who was before Andrew? Somebody before Andrew.
Portia. In Bruce. Remember it was Bruce handed to Andrew. Andrew lost to Portia. And then Andrew come back and defeat Portia. Portia stepped down. Peter took up the mantle. He run on him last. More than one beating, but in team say one is good enough. So him is the first ever party president that has never become a prime minister from the two sides of the fence. Never become a prime minister. He has no patience. Let him go on still. Yeah. I want history to remember me for the good things. So, for the chosen leader for us. So we shouldn't be running behind these people, but we choose a leader. We got to vote because we believe that voting is going to make our life better when the most already give us the things to make our life better. And we keep running away from it. Take me down now to, that was Deuteronomy 17. Matthew 24 and 9.
Matthew 24 and 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
All right. So like it. So Christ is telling you, they shall deliver you up. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for choosing Christ. But that is where our deliverance is going to come from. Take me now, John 19.
Isaiah 30,
Mm-hmm.
1 to 3. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin.
So this is what happens when you put other leaders over you. You take counsel from these leaders, don't. And that counsel is not of God. And we take a covering. And we are now PNP and we are JLP. And that covering is not of the Spirit of God. Right? So we end up doing what? We are already in a sinful situation. It's a sinful situation why many of us so hungry, poverty, but we are doing what? That they may, last part of one.
That they may add sin to sin.
Right. So we're adding sin to sin. Verse 2.
That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth. Strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh. Strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Yeah. This is what happened when we vote. The Pharaoh would be the leader that we are putting over us. So we're going down into bondage, and we don't ask that any question. We strengthen our strength of these politicians, and we trust in the shadow of the oppressor.
Be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion.
All those of us who run behind Siaga and Mandy, what happened? We get nothing. You know, yeah, for sure. We got nothing. The strength of these leaders became our shame. And the trust in the shadow of the whole oppressive system here confuse us even more. Because we are in Egypt, we are in bondage, and we are trusting that this system is going to take us out of bondage. It's going to give us better jobs. It's going to give us better working conditions. Confusion, really. Take me now to John 19, verse 11 to 15.
John 19, verse 11. John 19.
Verse 11.
John 19, verse 11. Jesus answered, Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore, he that delivered me unto thee hath the greater sin.
So when Christ, they were giving up Christ to sin, to be chastised. Now, if you read Christ's stories, the Romans make after him many times and never touch him. You know the stories, right? So that is why I say you couldn't have no power over me except it was given to you from above. God caused me to be delivered in your hands. Therefore,
But the Jews cried out, saying, If thou let this man go,
the politician, you're not a part of him, you're not a part of the system, they're not a part of the solution, they're a part of the problem if they don't vote. Because what? Those of us who don't vote, Christ is our leader. But they're telling us now that if we don't vote, we are part of the problem. Because we're supposed to throw away Christ and vote. Next verse.
when Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Jesus forth, and sat down in the judgment seat, in a place that is called the pavement.
So this is John time. 14.
And it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour. And he said unto the Jews, Bring your king. But they cried out, Away with him, crucify him. Pilate saith unto them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king but Caesar.
Isn't that what the people are saying now? Christ was given to us from resurrection. he arose. We know that. We know that after Christ, our throne of David, went to King Solomon right down the line. The selection has ceased from Christ. And we have, in the truth, we have been singing out Christ, 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 Christ. But our people are saying, away with Christ, give us Trump. Away with Christ, give us Andrew. Now we are going to choose one of two persons who should oppose Andrew. You know where this come from? You know where this come from? What?
This one.
This we will choose a two-party.
Yeah.
All right, read 17.
And he, I stopped at 16.
You stop at here?
16.
You stop at here?
16.
Then
That's
deliver
all
the
we got
17 in this one. They have a 16 that comes 17.
But then it reads 16.
Oh, all right, go on.
Then delivered he him therefore unto them to be crucified. And they took Jesus and led him away.
All right.
And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and two others with him, on either side one, and Jesus in the midst.
Now, every single democracy have two major parties. Some have a weaker party. Some third party cannot survive. Some have a weaker party. Some a third party cannot survive, like Jamaica and America. Third party systems don't work. This is where it comes from, because this has formed the model of the Roman system. Christ in the midst and two thieves on the two sides. In America, you call them two thieves what? You call them in America? Democrats and what? And Republican. And in Jamaica, you call them what? You call them JLP and PNP. That's the Roman system. Every democratic country, they never have three good parties. Two strong one. If there's a third party, a weak one. And if they don't rate that third party, the two party gang up and squeeze them out. Because what the people want, what did they say? Do what? Give us who? Us. And do what? And crucified Christ, eh? Give us Barabbas and crucify Christ, right? You say if it is, no, it's not, it's not here, it is in another thing there. But we ask for Barabbas and say crucify Christ. Why? What did Christ do to the powers that be then? He went against them. He went in the church and he whipped out those criminals. But Barabbas, when Christ was whipping out the criminals, the money changers out the temple, who today is the banks. When Christ was whipping them out the temple, Barabbas was around, you know. But Barabbas wasn't a part of the little common thieves. They don't bother them. So you come in now and tell them about Christ. Christ, they will live with the common thief. There was a time when they used to say, uptown people say, politicians them can do anything they want to do. You can, as long as the violence don't pass Torrington Bridge, that's in the crossroad region, keep it below Torrington Bridge. They said no. They knew all the nastiness that was going on against the people. They kept all of them uptown, kept their mouth shut because it is below quarantine, which is not within their sphere, right? So Barabbas was outside the temple doing his thing. But Christ came in the temple and whip out the criminals. Now you bring Christ in the House of Parliament also. He's going to confound them. They don't want that. So they go and vote. Choose the leader that you want. Don't choose the one that God chooses for you, because God already chose Christ. But nah. Huh?
No, because I remember saying, tell him to choose and they said, I remember saying, tell him to choose and they said,
But the scribes and Pharisees and high priests, they were the ones benefiting from the money changing in the church. They are the ones who Christ spoke against. Scribes and Pharisees and hypocrites. Christ went hard against them. So they want to see him die. Barabbas was not a problem to them. Barabbas was a common thief. So they crucified Christ in the midst of two. Barabbas was a common thief. So they crucified Christ in the midst of two common thieves. And the system has been set like from ever since that happened. They call it democracy. Choose one of the thieves. Christ in the midst of all this thing. Right? But we now in the UPK know that we should forget the two thieves and look on Christ. So that's why I always tell us to come into the UPK. 9 to 10.
Revelation 13, 9 to 10. If any man have an ear,
Hold on, let me find it there. Okay.
If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
All right. You choose one of them leaders, you vote and choose one of them. You're leading people into captivity. You choose us. You choose one of them leaders, you vote and choose one of them. You're leading people into captivity. You choose Andrew the other day, don't in his captivity. But they themselves are going to go into captivity. There was a time when we chose Michael or Siaga. They killed us with the sword. And every single one of the men who them choose to do that end up in a similar way. Some get old and learn and change, or mature and change. They see what this is, but their eyes, they get a little peep at the light and see that hiding the children of Israel. Yeah, all of your children of Israel, all Benjamites. Benjamite blood feel about a PNP or about a JP. Strongly about that. To the point where they kill each other. But tell them about Christ. They don't want to hear what you say, man. All right, so with that, we stand and we say the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew and in English. I.S.U.P.K, Malakwatha, Taba'an, Ratazaka, Haya, Haisha, Barataza, Kawa, Haya, Kasalatno, Kawa Wat Yanawa, Wanaha, Tabayanawa, Banasayawa, Awa, Awashainan, Maya, Rai, Kai, Laka, Amalakwa, Wahahala, Wahatapara, Laiwalaya, Ama. In English, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So we amen. All right, let's say a prayer for the poet. Yahweh Basham Yawasham, Baba Kasha, Nathan Lanao, Akan, Akan, Larpa, Kalmakala, Wakal Madawa, Akan, Lataha, Amatazaria, Akan, Amathia, Akan, Ilrakawa, Atamala, Lagarasha, Basham Yawasham, Amen. In English, Yahweh in the name of Yahweh, please give us the power for to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, for to cleanse the lepers, for to raise the dead, for against unkey security and announcement. Can take us if you want to read this. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will report to each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission. 3, 8 to 10 means 10 in Hebrew and is pronounced Ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priest, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation. Next Holy Convocation is Convocation. Hanukkah. 20th day of for 8 days. 18 Maccabees, and time found in 18 Maccabees of the 9th month. By the sun found in 18 Maccabees 4, 52 to 61. Second Maccabees 18. Akiam and Aquatiam is to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in school, then he's to start wearing all black, which include black boots, shirts, headbands, or scarf. And with that, we say a margin, which means to stand. One courtesy salute to the teacher, a margin Shabbat, a margin Barak, Rabba Shemya Shai Barakatam. One courtesy salute to the sisters, margin Shabbat,